It's Liam Killen. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a cover by LCD Soundsystem called Oh Baby. Bit of a hectic, like kind of messy setup here today. This is the last of the 3 video series in my Teenage Engineering giveaway. I'm giving away a Pocket Operator Modular 170. So yeah, I'm not giving away this one. I'm giving away a fresh new one. The winner will receive this. So I'll leave a link up above and also in the description for that for anyone who's interested. Enter to win. And the winner will be announced July 12th, 2020. So that's like in 5 days from now. Before actually getting into this crazy, well, not so crazy setup actually, it's relatively simple, depending on who you ask. I wanted to start a new thing here. You guys ask me a lot of questions and I'm happy to answer them all. If you have any questions or anything about my gear or about this setup or my mustache, just let me know in the comments. I'll make sure to get back to all of your questions. That being said, I'm gonna answer one of your questions in my next video. Maybe more than one. I'll figure that out. I guess it depends on how many good questions I actually get. Okay, so let's get into it. In this video, we're gonna be looking at my setup and I'm gonna be showing you how I put this whole beat together. With my video format, I usually end with a performance, but I really wanted to accent the diversity of this setup music genre-wise. I've done a lot of like electronic genres like lo-fi, hip hop, chill hop. I knew when I just learned
chiptune.
And while the original version of this track definitely is electronic, there are indie rock elements, sprinkles of indie rock on there. There's a live band, so there's live drums, there's piano, there's synth, and then there's lead vocals, and all of that is covered here and here. Most of what you heard from the performance is from the OPZ, so I guess you could say it's like the brain of this whole operation. I just plugged the OPZ into mixer 1 and OP1 into mixer 3. I played some melodies on the OP1 freehand, so there was no syncing or anything like that going on there. And I'm super excited to finally have incorporated the Modular 400 into the rest of this setup. Like, I'm still kind of like scared by modular synths. I'm very new to them. And I just use it in a very simple way. I've got some very simple square oscillator action going on here. I just turned it down super low so that it became like a synth bass. There's also a very small amount of resonance coming from the filters. So I really didn't do much. I was using the 400 for that very raw sounding square wave. I mean, I am featuring the 400 in this video, so let's mess around with it a little bit. If you want to get really weird with it, I mean, this still sounds better. Let's try the sine. Huh? I still think that the raw square wave sounds better, but I'm not totally opposed to this sound, so let's keep it for now. We're gonna A/B this with and without the PWM. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. It just sounds better like a raw square wave. It sounds more authentic. That's what the original track sounds like, so that's what we're gonna go with. Okay. This bass tone is kind of what sparked this whole track. Like, I heard it, I immediately thought of that song, and then I built the rest of the track around it. About the OPZ, let me just get a better camera angle here. I'm just gonna adjust a little bit, make it look pretty. That's the one thing about this setup, is that there's just so many wires, it's hard to make it look good. I was just really surprised by how easy and fluid the link between the OPZ and the 400 was. Even from one pattern to the next, I was able to sequence different bass lines, no problem. I mean, I guess that's all pretty standard, but it blew my mind. By the way, you need an OP Lab to make all of this happen, otherwise you're not able to sync the OPZ to the 400. This guy right here. I'll flip it over as well if you want to see my settings. I'm gonna solo all of the OPZ parts minus the bass. This pattern is very simple, but there are a few intricacies that make it flow better. So let's look into that. I'm gonna be moving pretty quickly through the OPZ, so if you're looking for something a bit slower paced, I do have some more beginner videos. Description. And we'll start with kick. I'm pretty sure I chose the first kick. we're just gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna program it onto quarter notes. Bop. Okay. For snare, we're gonna look for something with a longer kind of 80s tone. This first one could work with some reverb. Yeah, bank 2. Maybe. This one. Let's reverb this one out. Okay. I'm going to perform this one in. Quantize it. It's already been quantized. Hi-hats, we're looking for that 16th note, like sort of thing. I'm gonna give you a bit more insight as well on what we're trying to replicate. Just give me 1 second, so I'm gonna get some drumsticks. Or just one brush. Okay, and I'm gonna play on my hand, because it's good enough. In the original version, the drummer is accenting every second 16th note. So instead of this, he's going. You hear the difference? So accent, and then no accent. It's starting to hurt my hand. So you could replicate this sort of thing with the OPZ. First of all, let's find a hi-hat. I'm going to attempt to perform that in. Let's try it. Wait, which hi-hat was it? That happens too often. This one, here we go. Quantize. That's definitely a sound if that's what you want, but we're going for something a bit more human because we're replicating a human drummer. So this is where we go to triggers. We're going to select every second note, so the notes that are not being accented. Bop, do, bop, do, bop, do, dot, dot. Da, da, da. Every second note. And we're gonna go to this one. This is the velocity trigger. Click that. And then we're gonna go, let's try 4. It might be because I'm like a biased drummer who just likes that feel, but it seems to flow better to me. Drummer tips 101. That's it for drums. So the synth parts are quite simple as well. Let's take a look at those. I added an arpeggio, if you could even call it that. I'm basically just sitting on one note, and that note is an F. I'm obviously not showing the full potential of the OPZ here, so let's just take a look at the arpeggio. Triplets, 30-second notes. Yeah, let's just record that. Next part is also very simple. It's a F major riff. We're gonna head to chords for that. Let's actually program this one. So I'm holding down record, 1. And then back to beat 1. Obviously not the right sound. happy with that. That's a great starting point for OPZ Sounds. Let's take a look at the 400 bass sounds. Looking back at the setup, there's one thing that's slightly annoying, and that's the tuning of the square wave. You might notice that the bass is slightly out of pitch. I kind of wish that this tuning knob was a bit more friendly, let's say, because it's really tough to get it in tune. When I originally performed the track, it was totally in tune, but then as you start pulling out wires, things move around, I guess, and now it's slightly out of tune. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure the new model's tuning knobs are a little bit more precise in that sense. We're just gonna go ahead and call this lo-fi and go with it, because I'm afraid of tuning it. I'm afraid. This sequence is 4 bars long, so whoop, 4 bars. Let's record it. Also, just experimenting right now, I don't believe it's possible to control the volume of the Mod 400 through the OPZ. Like usually, let's say if you're on the hi-hat track, if you want to change the volume, you just go to the red lights, and then this one would control your volume, but it doesn't. So that's something you'd have to control through the Modular 400. Just keeping you in the know. For the last element of the track, let me just readjust again. I went to Dr. Wave Z Nerves, and then I messed around with cow, obviously the most fun effects on the OP1. Am I right? That's the last element of the track, and so this concludes my Teenage Engineering video series. For the giveaway of this, if this helped you out or inspired you in some way, then mission accomplished. Maybe it just entertained you. Also mission accomplished. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. It'd be great to have you guys on board. A reminder to hit me up in the comments if you have any questions. I will definitely get back to all of them. Another reminder is that I'm going to be answering one of your questions in my next video, so make sure you ask me the best possible questions. You guys are the best, and see you in the next one.